Hello and welcome to Catholic in America. Today we're talking about what if you were Pope for a day?
So stick around and find out how we can mess up the church in 24 hours.
Hello and welcome to Catholic in America. So glad that you're joining us today. My name is Father Doug Martin. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Father Michael Nixon and Father Tom Dillon. And we're about to ask the question that I think most any priest would love to answer and would love to have the opportunity to actually be a part of. And maybe even a lot of Catholic lay people or even non-Catholics would like to be a part of, which is, if you were Pope for a day, what would you do? Gentlemen, it's kind of a question, isn't it? Yeah.
It's good.
So if you were Pope for a day, I mean, I can imagine all the things that we could all think of that we wish the Pope would do, the things that we wish would have happened in the past or happened even in the present, and yet I don't know that I would want that responsibility of making those decisions myself.
I think we should start by talking about, first of all, people don't know this about maybe necessarily the Pope. The Pope can't just change dogma.
Right.
The Pope can't just take books out of the Bible or so we don't believe the Pope has some sort of infinite authority. Right. So if you were hoping for that, I mean,
that's not part of this. Yeah,
that's not part. So within that context, all right,
we have parameters.
I'm excited. I've got some ideas. I don't want to be Pope for a day or for 2 days. But so we're basically saying though the rules: you can be Pope. And then you're retired or you're killed. Or
That's it.
The next day.
All right. For one whole
apparently
24-hour day. Yeah.
You can retire now. Okay, sweet.
That's those parameters, and you have to stick to what the papacy really is.
Okay.
So,
all right. I'll. Can I go first?
Please do. Yeah.
I'll do my first one, and this is gonna sound so boring to people who don't do this. I would change the Spanish lectionary because I do Spanish Mass, and we have a terrible translation for the Spanish readings, and it's the most annoying thing in the world. So I'm preaching in English and preaching in Spanish, and the Spanish is just really badly done. And I don't know. I think the Bible's so important. So that would be my first change. I know this is really radical, shaking up the whole church.
Let me get this straight. You can do anything as Pope. You're like, first thing, that Spanish lectionary's got to go.
Absolutely. I complain about this all the time. So I would be remiss if my first minute of my 24 hours was not immediately we're changing this. So yeah.
I mean, I think that it's funny that you say that because I think with the question being asked to any priest or any bishop for this, you're going to get those things that hit close to home, right?
Absolutely.
And so the first thing that hits close to home,
annoyance. This is all about me and my ministry with my people, specifically Panama City, St. Dominic, Hispanic community, the people that I love so much, and I want to minister to them. Because after I'm done being Pope for tomorrow, when I'm done being Pope, I'm coming back to my parish.
Right, exactly.
So I want all that cleared out of the way. So I would change the Spanish lectionary if I had limitless power in the church.
So people in Australia are like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? I mean, the criticisms. Oh my gosh,
I'm already ready for them. I'm going to retire tomorrow. So,
Father Tom, what's your first?
Well, given that I can't, don't speak Spanish.
You abolish Spanish.
Abolish Spanish.
So that doesn't help you either.
Let's see. I'm kind of torn between two. I might go through, and my personal one was I'd like to clarify all the uncertain statements from the previous Pope.
That seems fair. Yeah.
Would you be able to do that in 24 hours?
I don't know. But I would like to go through and especially clarify and bring clarity to some vague statements that were said by the previous Pope, specifically on airplanes and such.
Right.
You could just have an airplane encyclical, clarifying airplane interviews.
Yeah, exactly.
We're loyal sons of Pope Francis.
Yes,
we love the Pope
Francis.
But at times there's some Jesuit ambiguity with some of the things that are said. And Pope Tom the First.
I've already been explaining. I've already had to explain lots of his things, but now just cohesively across the board, we're just going to clarify some of these.
Exactly what we, the church, meant.
Yes. So I want to be specific here. So you're saying just Pope Francis, not any other popes or councils.
We'll just start there.
We'll
just start there.
Okay.
We'll just start.
You only have one day. Though,
You only have one day. So.
Yeah, so you can't really go much further.
And
than that.
I'm not going to try to clarify anything that Pope Benedict.
Right. Yeah, that might not be.
Father Doug, you got something as far as what you would do?
I do, and I think mine
You'd be the first married pope in a very long time.
First married pope in a long
Doug
time.
But not the only one.
Not the only one. That's right.
First pope was married.
Unfortunately, there is precedent for it, but it goes back way a long time ago. That would be the first. No, that would not be the first. I would not want a married pope. I think the first for me would be practice. I think there would be a particular practice that I would want to change. I would really love to see a restored order. I really would love to see a restored order.
Explain to us what the restored order is.
Yeah, so restored order is really receiving the sacraments of initiation at once. So for the most part, you receive them at once. So at baptism, you receive baptism, confirmation, and first communion all at the same time, and going forward. And to
Would
me,
you give that to infants?
Yes.
All right.
Nice.
Now, look, I was a former
what
Episcopal.
the Orthodox Church does.
Yeah, the Orthodox does that.
Former
It's
Episcopal,
controversial.
that's what we did. My son, by the way, I'm a married priest, former Anglican priest who's a married priest now. I've got papers from Francis, so I'm legit. Legit. But my son received communion, until we came into the church. And I got to tell you, that was something I had to die to. That was something I really had to die to. But yeah, you would receive it. And I mean, there's ways to do that. Like you said, the Easterns do it, the Orthodox do it. And I think some of the practical implications of it would be good because we talk about in the Catholic Church all the time. You two are pastors. You know what I'm talking about. The practical implications of we want parents to take on that catechetical their catechetical responsibilities. And sometimes it feels like sometimes we can kind of not take it away from them, but somewhat replace it a little bit by our religious education, our faith formation, our sacramental prep. And so, in this way, if we're telling them, no, now you got to raise your kid Catholic, we are actually, beginning to put that onus on them. Wouldn't mean we would stop doing religious ed or have high schools and all that kind of stuff. And look, it may not work. I don't know. But I think it would be a very good thing. And there is precedence for it.
I'm totally down with that. I think like moving confirmation out of like a 9th grade, 8th grade sort of thing. It's already tumultuous enough. So to try to, and then it gets away from like you're choosing your faith for yourself, which is not what confirmation is, by the way. All right. Oh, by the way, we didn't get into this. I, of course, would be Pope Michael.
Yes, I was going to say names.
There was an anti-pope. I guess we should choose our names too.
Yeah.
There was not an anti-pope. There was a pope in like Middle America. He died recently. Who was claimed to be the real pope of the Catholic Church. He had been elected by like his mom and his uncle or something like that. But God rest his soul. His name is Pope Michael. But as a not a nod to him to let him know that he was not the real pope, I would be Pope Michael the first.
The first,
All right, so not the second, because if I said the second, that'd be very confusing for people.
I'm not sure anyone in my family would. I mean, them being Protestant, of course. I'm not sure any of them would elect me to be Pope anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So that'd be dicey. I'd have to find the right people to be around me to kind of elect me to that. So I don't know. Names for I don't know if I'd want to go unique or if I would want to go with someone who's already been Pope. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't want to be Pope Benedict the 17th or 18th. I mean,
I think you should be Pope Pius.
Too many of them.
You could be Pope Pius.
the 13th.
Pope Pius the 13th. See if it wasn't for the 13, the unlucky number and all that.
Or you could be Pope Innocent.
Pope
Innocent. Innocent Doug.
So are we going with anti-pope then? If I'm going, I don't know how innocent I am. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. I mean, maybe would want to go old school. Gosh, I don't know.
Peter.
I don't know. Well, yeah.
Peter the second.
Yeah, go with Peter the second. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what was the name of the Pope. I only perused it, but I'm trying to remember the name of the Pope from the Tim LaHaye Left Behind series.
Oh, I don't know.
I might have been Pope Patrick.
Yeah.
Patrick would be a great one. I mean, what a great,
Just to cause some stir for that one day.
If I wasn't Michael, I'd be John Paul the Third.
That'd be a good
John
one.
Paul II
John
so
Paul
much.
III. Yeah. I wouldn't mind doing any of those. Yeah, those would be good. But there's some of them though. Like I don't think I want to be. I don't think I want to be Sixtus. I don't know. It's
Sixes?
just something about, I don't know.
I wouldn't want to be pope.
Right, yeah.
Like,
Right. Okay.
I
good
barely
point.
want to be pastor.
All right, so my next thing, can we go
Yeah,
on?
let's
All right,
move
so
on
we've
to the
had our
next one.
opening
Yeah.
round. Pope Michael, Pope Sixtus, and Pope
Patrick.
Patrick. Right.
Yeah.
And I said this before we started. I would canonize Fulton Sheen, Bishop Fulton Sheen, immediately. He's one of the patrons of our ministry, what we do here with St. Dominic Media. Just one of the great American saints. Stood up to communism, preached the truth during very difficult times. Just he would be the first saint ever to have won an Emmy, which I think is pretty cool.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's
and,
right.
the number one TV show in the country, so really pioneered. He was the first kind of televangelist, really, but in the best sense of the term. Not
Had more viewers than Johnny Carson.
Yeah, and he
which is crazy.
And was all about the missions, lived his life for missionary work. Anyway, I absolutely love Fulton Sheen. So that was my first thing. Whatever red tape we need to clear up towards getting him canonized, we would move towards that.
All right, so you're
Fulton
going-
Sheen, Saint Fulton Sheen
Saint
would be
Fulton
my.
Sheen, yeah.
After I did the Spanish lectionary,
Yeah, I was about to say, you're going safe
I'm
here,
going to
man.
I'm going
That's
to
safe
canonize
stuff.
Fulton Sheen. Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, Father Tom.
Oh, seriously, I would demand an immediate update of the breviary.
The breviary.
Yes, specifically the Office of Readings,
Yes.
which we've been praying now for. I think we were supposed to get an update of breviary shortly after Vatican II.
Yeah.
And we're still waiting 60 years later.
Yeah.
So-
As a matter of fact, when I got ordained in 2019, they said, "Oh, don't buy the breviary. There's a new one about to come out."
Yeah, it'll come out in 40 more years.
That's right. Yeah, we still
So
had to have
I would
it.
have
So-
it done the same day.
Yeah.
But they have 1 year to complete it and get the breviary
And
out.
you just mean English, right? You're not talking about all that Italian stuff.
Just English.
Just English.
Yeah, just because.
So we're going local and selfish again. Huh? I'm with that. I'm down with that. So yeah, I'm down with that. So
I like some new office new readings in the office.
yeah. So there's been a couple of the, with some of the new translations in 2011, there's been some corrections already for me. So and also with you and with your spirit, that would have been one for me. But I think for me it would be, so there's a prayer that is a part of the Anglican Youth Liturgy that I think would be so appropriate in the Mass for us, and it's the prayer of humble access. And it's the prayer that's prayed right before you receive communion. So rather than us saying, Lord, not enter under my roof, instead it would be the prayer of humble access from the Anglican use, which is just a beautiful prayer of faith, a beautiful prayer of asking the Lord to come into your life and to receive our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ's body, blood, soul, and divinity. And so I just think it would be such a beautiful prayer, and it's a prayer that's prayed out loud together. And so it really does, it's called a prayer of humble access. It really helps you to understand how humbling this is. What we're about to do is supposed to be very humbling, that our Lord, that God himself would be on this altar and come into us in a corporal way. I mean, it wouldn't get any better than that. So I think it'd be a very important one.
That's good. You've shared that with me before, and it is beautiful.
Yeah,
I think we should take a quick break.
Okay.
And I've got a really good one. When we come back.
I got a really good one.
Okay, we'll see y'all in a minute. In Catholic America, we engage the intersection between faith and culture.
Tune in every week because no topic is out of bounds.
We want to thank you so much for supporting this show by watching it, by liking, sharing, and subscribing. How else can they support the show?
You can also become a patron on Patreon and support us financially.
So if you support us, there's all kinds of swag. There's T-shirts, there's coffee mugs, or maybe bumper stickers. I don't know. Maybe we could come up with a wig from Father Tom.
Father Tom wig would go a long way. So thanks for your support. God bless y'all, and check us out next time on Catholic in America.
Welcome back to Catholic in America.
Please like, share, or subscribe.
All right, so Father Michael, it's your turn again. You're
All
back
right,
up.
I'm Pope for the day, Pope Michael the First. So I've already, let's just remind you guys, I've already reformed the Spanish lectionary.
Yes.
I've already canonized Fulton Sheen, Saint Fulton Sheen. Pray for us. I would get rid of all of the people who work in the Vatican. I would all the people who've been there.
Fire them all.
I'd fire them all, and I would abolish the Vatican Bank. That's two things.
Ooh,
Vatican Bank would be gone.
Vatican
I know this
Bank.
would lead to my death, like it did to the Pope in The Godfather Part 3. He was poisoned, if you remember, because he was going to reform the Vatican Bank.
Yes.
So I know I'm going out tomorrow anyway.
Well,
so
yeah, I mean, you're not going to be Pope tomorrow anyway, one way or the other.
I'm not reforming it. If you guys don't know, there's all sorts of, because they're trying to. It's an actual bank, so investment things and poor decisions, and it's a whole complicated thing. That's
So you get out of the banking business.
get out of the banking business
You're not in the
completely.
banking business
and
anymore.
anyone who works in the Vatican, who's not like a nun, praying for people and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just have to go get real
Fired.
jobs.
Yeah. The first moment, the first
Yeah.
one you see that's making bureaucratic decisions, you're like, all right, you're out. Yeah.
People sweeping floors, people,
Yeah.
like that. That's they can say, but anyone who's like got an office that's making some pronouncements on such and such, we're done.
So the dicasteries gone.
All
or
the dicasteries
empty?
are gone. They're all gone.
They're just gone.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Which is allowable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be.
No sentence. It's worth asking.
You can get together if you want, man. You can get together with your friends and talk. That'd be great. And just talk about the Lord. But yeah,
Plenty of coffee shops in Rome.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So Father Tom.
Oh my gosh.
Number 3 for
Oh,
you.
well, this would be number
This is
3.
it.
So
Yeah.
obviously, I'm going to cause, if I was Pope for the day, as I think I've already indicated, I'm going to cause as much disruption as possible. So I'm going to be Pope Patrick.
Yeah.
And Pope Patrick is going to fall into a repeating pattern from history of people who were just placeholders.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm going to follow in the footsteps of now Saint John the 23rd, and I'm going to call for the Third Vatican Council.
Wow.
man.
I was wondering if one of you guys was going to say
I'm
it.
calling for the
I
Third
did.
Vatican Council
Wow.
to address all of the social issues of today,
Yeah.
as well as to clarify what the Second Vatican Council was about.
Right, sure.
All right.
Yeah, that would help. Yeah, wow. I was wondering if one of
As
you were
well
going to
as
say that.
as well as that the third purpose of the Third Vatican Council will be what musical instruments are liturgically appropriate at the liturgy.
There's some people that are watching on all sides of that would love to hear what that would be. There would be a lot of people watching this and be like,
just to start, just to see what blows up.
that would be with bated breath. They would wait for that and want to know that. That would be good. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think for my third one is Pope Sixtus.
I forgot you were Pope Sixtus.
Pope Sixtus. Yeah. I think for my third, and I know this isn't going to sound like that big of a deal, but it's something you and I've talked about. I would love to make Rome a place of evangelism.
Preach.
Is it not? Is it not already?
It doesn't feel that way. When you go, I mean, like I did a pilgrimage in September, and we're sitting there walking around with a lady who's one of the guides for the Scavi tour, and so
Which is the bones of Peter, where Peter's buried underneath St. Peter's. So it's a first century Roman graveyard. It's amazing. It's
It is amazing.
archaeological site.
And she's sitting down there trying to convince us that, that's probably not. I mean, all the scholarship has said that's probably not. When in actuality, it's the exact opposite
No,
of
the
that.
scholarship actually points to the opposite.
Opposite of
I was
that.
a
There was
tour
only
guide- I was a
one that
tour
was
guide in
like, I'm
Rome.
not really
That's-
sure.
Yeah.
Everybody else was like, yeah, that's it. And so I would love to see, if there's money in the Vatican and we want to spend that money in a place, man, let's really make Rome a place of evangelism. So when people come, it's not a museum, it's not a tour, but it's a true pilgrimage. And so the guides there believe the gospel. The people in the Vatican that are there, that are a part of the peripheries, believe the gospel. And so that everything that we do that's around that Vatican, man, people come and really do get experience.
I
our
think
Lord
there's
Jesus Christ.
like absolutely. I'm as the Pope before or after you. I don't know what order we're going in.
3 in a row, yeah.
Oh man, it's tumultuous. This is the 3 days of darkness.
This
right
is
now.
the 3 days of darkness. This is it.
People thought it was something else. And actually, it was one of those 3 guys were popes. Absolutely. Because I was in Rome last year, and it was amazing. But I'm just thinking in terms of you have all these people coming.
Yeah.
Who don't know the Lord, and they're coming, and you're kind of like almost assuming that they know, what this is all about. This is why we have this art, but just like you have an opportunity to share the gospel with so many people, and some people do. Some religious orders and some parishes in there do a beautiful job of that. So, But man, if that was systematized, like this is what
Yes.
we're all about.
Systematized, intentional.
Yeah.
This is the purpose of coming to Rome.
Absolutely. I
That
love
would
it.
be. Oh man, I would love that. But yeah, I was the same way. I mean,
I vote for you for Pope.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, I get it. No, I don't want it. But we had a couple of ladies that were with us that were not Catholic, and so there were times that we go in and come out and go, I don't get it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, what a shame that these people came here to something. I mean, like the first church the basilica we went into was St. Ignatius, and I thought, man, what a gorgeous place for these people. And they walked out and they're like, oh, it's pretty. Mm-hmm. And so our guide our guide is a good Catholic and was, trying to share the gospel with them. Well, there's only so much you can do with all that. So, yeah.
All right.
So, all right.
Make Rome evangelistic.
Yeah, number 4.
Are we on our 4th?
We're on
now?
number 4, Pope Michael the First. Yeah.
Oh, man. This is, all right. All right. What would I do here? Oh, I would do, all right. So this would be, I would cut seminary formation in half as far as time in a seminary, academic study, and I would make the rest of it in parish and mission work. So that would be the main formation for guys. Would be missionary work and within parishes and within So seminary takes 7 years for people that don't know,
Or 9, depending
or
on
9. God bless
Or
people.
if you're religious, can take 11.
God bless people who work in seminary. We got great, people that we know and love that are doing really good work there. But seminaries, the seminary format was formed in the 16th century.
Robert Bellman's turned over in his grave, man.
He's not happy.
Charles Borromeo and everyone. So anyway, I think it needs to adapt to the age that we're in, and helping people to be dynamic evangelists, because we are not in Christendom anymore. I would. I think you could still get your 2-year master's in theology. Get that. Get a year, maybe another year of.
Got to have those academics from philosophy.
Absolutely.
No doubt. No, you don't want to get rid of it.
We don't want dumb priests. All the dumb spots are taken.
That's right. We've got those already.
But yeah, so that's what I would be. What I would do.
All right, Father Tom.
I don't know who's going to enforce it, because I just gutted the dicastery for the
That's right. You don't have any of that. You don't have the mechanisms to make it happen. Yeah. So,
All right,
Patrick.
number 4. Number 4 for Pope Patrick.
Yeah.
How much more controversy could I cause? Let's go with.
I just love it that your whole one-day papacy is what trouble can I cause? How can I make it? It's like Jesus coming into the temple, throwing the tables over. That's what this is.
I'm not sure. This would cause some problems, though. But I would call for a complete revamp of the annulment process.
Oh,
wow!
Complete revamp of the annulment process.
I hadn't thought about that, but
to make it harder,
to make it easy. No, to streamline it,
simplify it,
to talk about new ways in which we have to look at the dynamics of the modern world and things like that, and what are new impediments, and clarifying some of that. And
that's true.
New impediments in terms of the modern world, especially building off of what we now know. Not that things are changing, but I think that I would agree with Pope Francis and one of his what he said a few years ago, where he's talked about that many of the marriages today are invalid.
Right.
Although it's hard to prove it by the current law.
Yeah.
But the current law is, it hasn't been updated since 1983.
Mm-hmm.
So I would call for a revamp and for that to make things more apt to the times.
All right.
Not that we're changing. I wouldn't change. I think that the annulment process.
Jesus' words still hold.
Absolutely.
We can't change Jesus' words. Marriage is for life.
That's right.
It's been one man, one woman. You can't change those things. But the process of annulment. All right. I dig that.
Yeah, I like that. All right, Pope Sixtus. So I've got my 4th one, and I'm sure people that are viewing might think, well, this is a married priest, so obviously he's going to change that part of canon law. No, I'm not changing that. That's staying the same. That won't change.
You wouldn't broaden it to allow more married men to be priests?
I wouldn't. I think I've explained my reasons for that, but no, I wouldn't. Mine would be, my next one would be a little bit more transparency, because I haven't destroyed the dicastery yet. So I'm not saying that's not coming, but I haven't done it yet. I think mine would be a little bit more transparency on not only the process of of deciding who, of making decisions on the bishops.
Okay.
But how the decision was made that this bishop, that this priest is being ordained to be the bishop and to this place, and why, to kind of give a little bit more purpose to it, almost like a mission statement of what this guy is being placed here for. Intentionality. That's what I'm looking for. Intentionality, because we've talked about it. I mean, there's some dioceses that we've talked about that it doesn't seem like that maybe priests are placed in places that's intentional. It's almost like, well, especially in places where there's shortages, I mean, they're just plugging holes at times.
Yeah.
And so I don't want that to be with bishops. And I'm not sure that it is or it's not, but that's the transparency I want to see. I want to know why this man was chosen to be a bishop, just a little statement of it, and then why he's being placed here.
Okay.
I think it'd be an important.
I think it'd be huge.
Yeah.
I've got two that are totally different from each other, but anyway, so the first one is I would complete the reform of the liturgy.
Nice.
That I think was begun at Vatican II, and then we just they sort of just slapped.
That's what Vatican III is, man.
Well, okay. So basically to clarify that
So if he was after you, that's it.
I think I'm after you. The liturgy, I love the liturgy and I'm all about it, but I just think that to make the liturgy fitting and noble and beautiful is left up far too often to the whims of a pastor. So you can go to one Catholic church and there's streamers and felt banners and stuff, and you go to another one. Our parish probably has more modern music, but we have, altar men, altar boys,
right.
and 3 candles on the altar and the altar crucifix and incense being used at kind of our high mass. But that's just kind of based on just up to the pastor to sort of do that. So I think even kind of clarifying that to have the best of what used to call the traditional Latin Mass, that's integrated into this, completing the reform, having the option for a high Mass that you would celebrate each Sunday, and just having that reverence and beauty tied into it and completed to kind of end some of those things. So if the extraordinary form, if that goes away, it goes away as far as feeding into and informing the rite of the church, RITE. So that's what I would do.
I like that.
Pour a lot into that. I got another one as well, but anyway,
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Another one I
Pope
would
Patrick.
do.
Yeah.
Pope Patrick. Give me your
my
other
second one
Here's
would
what's your
my second one in
Yeah.
my fourth round would be the really pushing on the actual call of the laity to evangelize the world. Like, what does that actually look like? Being very we kind of have ideas of that since we've canonized some saints in those areas, but work of someone like St. Jose Maria Escrivá about the sanctification of work, not just lay people being involved in church ministries, which we've kind of reduced it to, but what does it look like for somebody out in the world? Have a whole, I think we could have a whole 10 years dedicated to that of how do we equip people well with their own gifts and talents and the married vocation, just in the lay vocation in general, living their faith really dynamically.
So if
Dr.
you will,
Tom Neal would be my my theological shout out to Dr. Neal. Would be my theological advisor on that too.
So your Humana Vitae for work, in other words,
you
would want it to be a long document, which you couldn't do in a day. But hopefully the next pope would take that.
I would declare a decade of reflection.
Reflection on
that.
it.
So,
wow. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
What I would wish was actually something that also Pope Benedict did a lot of work on, and Pope Francis has been doing it. But I would really wish that there would be something that we can be done between bringing reunification with the Orthodox.
Yeah.
Doing something, whatever, looking at that, it would take me, I'd only have one day to look at what's the behind the scene things that's stopping reunification, like what's stopping it. Because I think that that would be one of my pursuits.
I think that you would find out that it was once we'd abolished all the dicastries, then
It would be so back in union. Be a little bit easier.
Look and see and look and see what that is. Off the top of my head right now. I had another one. I just lost it though. But.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like that one. I mean, I think that would be a very good way to go.
Can I build on that too? I think, man, there's so many great things happening in a lot of evangelical Protestant churches, and I think being the Pope actually making a move towards acknowledging those things and just reaching out to them and encouraging them in engaging with us. I think there's been some movements with more mainline Protestant churches, which unfortunately a lot of those are kind of receding and an impact on the world and even in fidelity to orthodoxy. So if there was a movement towards like, all right, hey, we see what's happening here. We want to rejoice in the good that's happening there, and inviting them to engage with us, and even towards unification there. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I got it, man.
All right, go for it. All right.
I got here's my number one thing. I would restart a new dicastery, which was called the Inquisition.
Okay.
Well, it had a singular purpose. It wasn't to burn people. Its singular purpose was to go through the entirety of the world and look at bad church architecture, and then we would set it all on fire. Yeah. So give out a very clear standard of beauty, an objective standard for beauty, and we would burn as heretical all bad church architectures and buildings.
Wow.
Under the new title of Inquisition.
You know, that might get you as Pope Patrick to Saint Pope Patrick. I think that would be a very popular move. I think people would really would.
Wait, are you replacing it?
Yeah.
Oh no, we'll burn it down. We'll build something. It's got a little. I mean, it smacks a little
We
bit.
don't have a Vatican Bank anymore. There's not a lot of
The Vatican Bank's gone.
No.
If you come after him, you're going to be able to do that.
We only have a day.
Yeah, we only have a day. This is a lot to do in a day, by the way. All three of us, the things we've mentioned, there's a lot to do in a day.
I already feel the burden of this. I feel kind of like worn out, even reflecting on it. So maybe I think we would probably draw us to a close, but I think we could definitely just say pray for the Pope. Because God bless. God bless the Pope. It's a heavy hat to wear, but good thing Jesus is Lord. Yeah. And so our hope, and I think this is important just too for anyone watching too, our hope is not in the creativity or knowledge or anything of the Pope himself. It's that Jesus, is faithful to his church. Yeah. Jesus founded the church. The reason why the church is still here is not because every pope is perfect. Obviously, that's not true. Even in our hypothetical, we've made a lot of mistakes.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
And but we've had great saints as popes as well. But that Jesus is faithful, the Holy Spirit is active, and so that's why I have hope for the future of the church.
Yeah, and I would ask, even if you're not Catholic, but if you're Catholic, pray for our Pope, for Pope Francis, for the Pope that'll come after him. Pray for that, for specifically for the office itself, and continue to pray for the man who's in that office, because it's a tough decision. I mean, I'm just a pastor, and I'm sitting here thinking, decisions I want to make in the parish, and I'm like, man, this is tough.
Yeah.
I can only imagine with the entirety of Catholicism on your shoulders, making those decisions. So please pray for him, and especially if you don't like him, or if you have big issues with him or problems with him, pray for him. That's what we're supposed to do, is to pray for those who agitate us and irritate us. And even if you consider him your enemy, I hope that you don't, but even if you do, that we're to pray and to love our enemies and to love those who agitate us and get on our nerves. And so if Pope Francis does that for you, I'm sorry, but pray for him. And then those of us who love him, let's all figure out a way that we can support him in the ministry in which he's been given. And so
I think, and that would be my last thing, which I would say for my last act as Pope Patrick, is I would proclaim to the world the actual limits of authority that the Pope had.
Yes.
That'd be nice.
So recognizing also that the Pope is a man.
Yeah.
Like, he's not Jesus. He stands in persona Christi. He's the highest leader, but not everything that the Pope says is the word of God.
Right.
He is a man. We follow a man who Jesus left us, and that man is an imperfect man.
Right.
That's why, that's also why, the Lord left us a human church, not an angelic, perfect church, but a human church. And so remembering the humanity of the church and forgiving, especially 70 times 7, because as a Catholic Church, we have a lot of good that we've done, and there's also a lot of things that have not been so good, a lot of sins and things like that.
So as we end,
7 times 7.
Yeah. So as we end, I just ask you the question: what would your list be if you were going to be Pope? What would your list be? What would you like to see change? And then I would ask you, if it's something that you can change without being Pope, why not begin to work that way? It's a beautiful way for us to pray for our current Pope, to pray for the way that we think about the church and all the activities that go into the church. And so just to think about, what would you do if you were Pope? So thank you, Father Michael, Father Tom, and thank you for joining us on Catholic in America. We'll see you next time.